All right, team, let's head out on an adventure to a land of vast wilderness, towering mountains, incredible wildlife. We're talking about Canada. You've probably heard of it, but this place is so much more than just snow and maple syrup. The name Canada itself has a fantastic story. It comes from the word Canada, which means village or settlement in the language of the St. Lawrence Iroquoians. Imagine early explorers asking for directions, being told about the local village, and mistakenly using that name for the whole country. It's a brilliant bit of history that shows how this nation began with local communities. Now let's talk about its flag. You can't miss it. It's bold, red, and white, with a giant 11-pointed maple leaf right in the center. This design is officially called the national flag of Canada, but everyone knows it as the maple leaf. It was adopted in 1965. It represents pride, courage, and the stunning natural beauty you find from coast to coast. So, where in the world is this epic country? Get out your globe or map and look way up north, right above the United States. Canada is the second largest country on Earth, stretching across a mind-boggling expanse of land. It reaches from the Atlantic Ocean on the east coast all the way to the Pacific Ocean on the west. And if you look even further north, you'll see it touches the freezing, icy waters of the Arctic Ocean. This massive territory means Canada shares the longest international border in the world with just one other country, its neighbor to the south, the USA. The journey covers 6 different time zones. That means when people are having breakfast in Vancouver, folks in St. John's are already thinking about their afternoon tea. This incredible scale is what makes Canada such a land of contrasts and endless opportunities for exploration. It's a place where you can truly feel the raw power and immense beauty of the natural world, a true adventurer's dream destination. Let's dive into some quick facts to get a better picture of this giant country. Every great nation has a heart, a central hub where all the big decisions are made. And for Canada, that city is Ottawa. While bigger and more famous cities like Toronto and Vancouver often steal the spotlight, Ottawa is the official capital. It's a beautiful city filled with grand government buildings, historic canals, and fantastic museums. It's where you'll find the Parliament of Canada, the place where leaders gather to shape the country's future. Now, for a country this massive, you might expect a gigantic population, but here's a surprise. Canada is home to about 40 million people. That might sound like a lot, but when you spread them across the second largest country in the world, things start to look a bit different. Canada has one of the lowest population densities on the planet. This means there are vast, wide-open spaces with hardly anyone around. Most Canadians live in cities and towns clustered near the southern border, leaving the great northern expanses wild, remote, and beautifully empty, a true wilderness waiting to be explored. Let's talk money. If you're planning a Canadian expedition, you'll need to get your hands on some Canadian dollars, often called the loonie. Why the loonie? Because the $1 coin has a picture of a loon, a famous Canadian water bird, on it. The $2 coin is nicknamed the toonie. The official languages are another key feature. Canada is proudly bilingual, with both English and French holding official status. This is a legacy of its history with both British and French settlers, creating a rich cultural tapestry you can see and hear all across the country. Finally, let's look at how Canada is run. It's a parliamentary democracy and a constitutional monarchy. That sounds complicated, but it's quite interesting. It means Canadians elect representatives to their parliament to make laws, just like in many other democracies. But it's also a constitutional monarchy, which means the British monarch is officially the head of state. This is a symbolic role, a link to Canada's colonial past within the Commonwealth. While Canada is a fully independent nation, this historic connection remains a unique part of its identity, blending tradition with modern democratic governance. Canada's geography is absolutely epic, a real feast for any nature lover. The landscapes are incredibly varied, changing dramatically as you travel across the country. In the east, you have the rugged coastlines of the Atlantic provinces, dramatic cliffs, charming fishing villages. Move west, and you'll find the Great Lakes and the vast flat prairies of central Canada, an enormous breadbasket stretching for thousands of kilometers. These plains are home to huge farms that produce grain for the world. But the real showstopper for many is the western part of the country, where the land gets seriously dramatic. The climate is just as diverse as the landscape. While Canada is famous for its cold, snowy winters, That's only part of the story. Summers can be surprisingly hot and humid, especially in the central and eastern regions. The West Coast, particularly around Vancouver, has a much milder, rainier climate where snow is a rare sight in the city. And if you venture way up north into the Arctic territories, you'll find a polar climate with long, dark winters and short, cool summers. This is the land of the midnight sun, where in summer, the sun doesn't set for weeks on end. This incredible country is packed with natural wonders that will take your breath away. Of course, there's Niagara Falls, a powerful trio of waterfalls on the border with the US that thunders with immense force. Then you have the Rocky Mountains, a jagged spine of peaks that slices through Alberta and British Columbia, offering some of the most stunning mountain scenery on the planet. And let's not forget the Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis. In the northern parts of Canada, you can witness this spectacular light show dancing across the night sky, a truly magical and unforgettable experience. And with all this wilderness comes some of the most amazing wildlife on Earth. Canada is a haven for iconic animals. You have the mighty grizzly black bears, huge moose browsing in the forests, and herds of caribou migrating across the tundra. Along the coasts, you can spot majestic whales, humpbacks, orcas, and the massive blue whale. And don't forget the smaller critters, like the clever beaver, Canada's national animal. For a wildlife enthusiast like me, Canada is a paradise, a place where you can see these incredible creatures thriving in their natural habitats. Canadian culture is a fascinating mosaic, a blend of different traditions from all over the world. Because so many people have immigrated to Canada, it's one of the most multicultural countries on Earth. This diversity is celebrated, not just tolerated. In big cities like Toronto, Little Italy, Chinatown, Greektown, and feel like you've been transported to another country. This mix of cultures is reflected in the food, music, festivals. It's a nation built on the idea that different backgrounds can come together to create a strong, unified identity. Festivals are a huge part of life here, no matter the season. In summer, there's the Calgary Stampede, a massive rodeo and festival with thrilling events and pancake breakfasts. Montreal hosts the world-famous Just for Laughs Comedy Festival and an incredible international jazz festival. When winter arrives, the fun doesn't stop. Quebec City puts on the spectacular Winter Carnival, ice sculptures, canoe races on a frozen river, and a giant snowman mascot named Bonhomme. And on July 1st, the whole country celebrates Canada Day with fireworks, parades, and a sea of red and white. Now let's talk about food. Canadian cuisine is hearty, comforting, and delicious. The most famous dish has to be poutine, a glorious pile of French fries and cheese curds smothered in rich brown gravy. It's a must-try. Another Canadian classic is the butter tart, a small, sweet pastry filled with a gooey mixture of butter, sugar, and syrup. And of course, there's maple syrup. Canadians pour it on everything from pancakes to bacon. The country is also famous for its wild salmon, pea meal bacon, and tasty little pastries called Nanaimo bars. Daily life for many Canadians is a balance between work and enjoying the great outdoors. People are generally friendly, polite, and have a great sense of community. In terms of clothing, it's all about practicality, especially with the changing seasons. In winter, everyone bundles up in warm coats, hats, gloves, and boots, what they affectionately call toques and mitts. In summer, it's shorts and t-shirts like anywhere else. But you'll often see people sporting a plaid flannel shirt, affectionately known as the Canadian tuxedo, when paired with jeans. It's a look that's both practical and iconic, perfect for a country that loves nature. You know, the history of Canada didn't actually start when Europeans arrived. It began thousands of years ago. The first people to call this land home were Indigenous peoples, First Nations, Inuit, Métis. These communities developed rich and complex societies, culture, language, and traditions, all perfectly adapted to the diverse landscapes. From the Haida master craftsmen of the Pacific coast, to the nomadic hunters of the Great Plains, and the Inuit who thrived in the harsh Arctic. These ancient peoples have a deep, spiritual connection to the land that continues to be a vital part of Canada's identity today. The story took a dramatic turn in the 15th and 16th centuries with the arrival of European explorers. Vikings had briefly landed in Newfoundland around 1000 AD, but it was explorers like John Cabot and Jacques Cartier who really kicked off the age of European settlement. France and Britain were the two main powers competing for control of this vast new territory, primarily for its rich resources, especially beaver pelts for the European fur trade. This rivalry led to numerous conflicts and shaped the linguistic and cultural divide between French and English Canada that still exists. A pivotal moment in Canadian history was the 7 Years' War, which ended in 1763 with the Treaty of Paris. France ceded most of its North American territory, known as New France, to Britain. To ensure the loyalty of the French-speaking population, the British passed the Quebec Act in 1774, which protected French language, civil law, and religion. This was a crucial step in creating a dual-identity nation and laid the groundwork for the bilingual country we know today. Canada's path to full independence was a gradual and peaceful evolution, not a violent revolution. On July 1, 1867, 4 provinces, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, joined together in a federation through the British North America Act. This event, known as Confederation, marked the birth of the Dominion of Canada. While still part of the British Empire, Canada now had its own government and began to expand westward, eventually growing into the 10 provinces and 3 territories it is today. And it wasn't until 1982 that Canada formally gained the power to amend its own constitution, completing its long, steady journey to full sovereignty. Canada has a powerful and highly developed economy, making it one of the wealthiest nations in the world. A huge part of this wealth comes from its incredible abundance of natural resources. The country is a global leader in the energy sector. Oil, the oil sands of Alberta, natural gas. It's also a major producer of hydroelectricity, harnessing the power of its mighty rivers. This resource wealth forms the backbone of the Canadian economy, driving industry and providing jobs for millions of people across the country. Beyond energy, Canada's industries are incredibly diverse. The forestry industry is massive. Timber, paper products. Mining is another giant. Potash, uranium, nickel, diamonds. The country also has a robust manufacturing sector, particularly in the automotive industry, concentrated in Ontario and closely integrated with the United States. When it comes to what Canada sells to the world, its exports tell a clear story. Natural resources are at the top of the list. Crude oil, natural gas, minerals, primarily shipped to the United States. Agricultural products are also hugely important. Canada is a global breadbasket: wheat, canola, other grains. Seafood from its 3 coastlines, lobster, salmon, enjoyed on dinner plates worldwide. But Canada's economy isn't just about digging things out of the ground or growing them in fields. It has a thriving technology sector: software development, video game design, artificial intelligence. Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. The financial services industry is also a major player on the global stage, with some of the world's most stable and well-regarded banks. This modern, knowledge-based economy, combined with its traditional resource strengths, makes Canada a true economic powerhouse, ready to innovate and compete in the 21st century. For any traveler, Canada is a land of endless adventure with destinations to suit every taste. The most famous sites are famous for a reason. They are truly spectacular. At the top of the list are the Rocky Mountains, Banff National Park, Jasper National Park, turquoise glacial lakes like Lake Louise, drive the Icefields Parkway, hike among towering peaks, Niagara Falls in Ontario, a raw display of nature's power, CN Tower in Toronto, incredible views from dizzying heights. Canada has produced some incredibly talented and influential people who have made a huge impact on the world stage. In the world of music, the country has given us legendary artists whose songs are known globally. Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, whose poetic lyrics defined a generation. Drake, Justin Bieber, The Weeknd have dominated the pop charts. And let's not forget the powerhouse voice of Celine Dion. It's not just in music where Canadians have shone. In the world of film and television, many of your favorite actors and comedians hail from the Great White North. Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, Seth Rogen, Ryan Reynolds, Rachel McAdams, Ryan Gosling. Canada has a knack for producing performers with a unique blend of humor, charm, and talent, making a huge mark on popular culture. Beyond the arts, Canadians have made groundbreaking contributions in science and innovation. Frederick Banting, co-discoverer of insulin, a medical breakthrough that has saved countless lives. Chris Hadfield, famed ISS commander known for videos and photos from orbit, making space accessible and exciting for millions. These individuals show the spirit of discovery and dedication to improving human life that is deeply valued in Canada. Wayne Gretzky, thinkers and writers who have shaped global conversations. They serve as ambassadors for their country, demonstrating the incredible potential that comes from a nation that values education, diversity, hard work. They are a source of great national pride. Now for the really fun stuff. Canada is full of quirky, surprising, downright weird facts. For starters, did you know a huge chunk of Canada has less gravity? It's true. Around the Hudson Bay region, gravity is slightly weaker. Scientists say it's from an ancient ice sheet pressing down on the crust. It's a strange natural phenomenon that adds mystery to the landscape. Here's another. Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world's countries combined. The last ice age carved millions of hollows that filled with water. No matter where you are, you're probably not far from a beautiful lake. Summers at a cottage by a lake are central to Canadian life. It's a water lover's paradise on an unimaginable scale. Official things. Canada's national sport is lacrosse in summer and ice hockey in winter. Fun and odd law. It's illegal to produce, sell, or possess crime comics in Canada. That law came from 1940s fears about corrupting youth. It's rarely enforced, but still on the books. Finally, Canada has the world's only official UFO landing pad in St. Paul, Alberta. It was built in 1967 as a centennial project and symbol of unity. The platform even contains a time capsule. National parks are free to enter on Canada Day. These facts show Canada's playful side. From its apologetic reputation, saying sorry a lot, to a love of weird roadside attractions. It's a country that doesn't always take itself too seriously.